Right, we're going to talk Chelsea now. Very good performance going forward, less so from the goalkeeper. Asmir will give us his view on R.Sanchez's performance in a moment. But first of all, let's hear from Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville.
You cannot take a chance with the goalkeeper. I've said before, it's the most difficult position on the pitch. It's the one that carries the most scrutiny. It's the one that if you have got a goalkeeper that's making mistakes and is anxious, it will undermine everything that you're trying to do. And I think in the next 7 or 8 days, Xabi Alonso may have to just make a decision that he needs to bring in an experienced goalkeeper because his job is to be successful for Chelsea. And it may be that he sticks with R.Sanchez, but I think he has to protect himself.
Well, we're not saying anything we haven't said for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Unfortunately, listen, he's consoling them. But Chelsea will never win the league with Sanchez in goal. Impossible, it can't happen.
OK, as Jamie said there, it's nothing we haven't really heard before, but it's been reiterated again. Do you agree? Will Chelsea never win the league with R.Sanchez in goal?
I knew you were going to talk to me about this. No, I think that's a bit much. I think that's taking it too far to say never win the league with R.Sanchez. Again, you're singling out one individual. That's, I think, a little bit too far, too much for me. Of course, we understand the importance of any goalkeeper in any team. And I think it's easy to say and pile on a little bit after maybe a difficult night in many different ways. I think R.Sanchez has done many good things for Chelsea and, of course, in his career. So I think from that aspect, he's got some really good qualities.
He's had some. The point is, this is not his first difficult night. He's had a few of them as well.
Yeah.
And as Gary Neville says there, goalkeeper position is arguably the most important in the team.
Yeah, of course. And I think he has to learn it. I think he has to obviously take those things and analyze them and make sure he does better going forward into the season. I think there was a level of course, being bailed out by some of the incredible attacking play that Chelsea, put on last night. But I think, of course, he has to improve and he has to analyze and see what he can do better. But I think there is some good qualities in R.Sanchez. I think Chelsea as well. When you look at their goalkeeping group, they've got Mike Penders, who they're really high on. I think someone who they've got big hopes for. And I don't think they want to block a pathway for him. So I think from that aspect, they do have some options. But of course, that level has to be very high, especially when playing for Chelsea and wanting to compete at the highest level.
I don't want to upset any Aston Villa fans here, right? But it looks like Emiliano Martinez quite possibly on his way out of Villa. He wasn't involved in the squad first game of the weekend. Zion Suzuki has been signed, Japan #1. He's come in as Villa's #1. So it looks like Martinez will have to find another club. Why don't Chelsea consider making a move for someone like Emiliano Martinez?
It's a big question. I think first and foremost on Aston Villa, I think the signing of Zion Suzuki is a great signing. Watching him with the World Cup this summer, watching him for Parma before, I think he's super talented and I think he's a really good signing. I think for many years to come for Aston Villa. I think it seems like the relationship between Aston Villa and Emi Martinez, it's run its course in certain ways. They've achieved some great things together. And your point about Chelsea signing Emi Martinez, I think I touched on that point about there being a pathway for Mike Penders. I don't think they want to block that. So I think, again, if you were to bring maybe a little bit more experience to that department, it might be below that to help and guide some of the other goalkeepers. So I don't see Emi Martinez fitting in there at this moment in time just because of that pathway. But never say never in football. Things can happen. I think Emi Martinez, with his pedigree, his stature, his quality, would be a fantastic signing for someone out there looking to compete right away.
Yeah, he turns 34 in September, Martinez. But, as a goalkeeper, you can go on for a few more years after that. And he's a World Cup winning keeper as well. What is the latest with him at Villa?
Well, I mean, they've got to find a solution for him because the difference from last year when another, famous interview when Unai Emery said Marco Bizot, we thought he was leaving. It didn't happen. And then he went back to being Aston Villa's #1. But Aston Villa have a new #1 now. And Emi Martinez will not be wanting to sit on that Aston Villa bench. He will not be a #2. We know how much playing for Argentina means for the likes of Emi Martinez, Christian Romero. He will want to carry on playing. So they need to find a solution for him. He's a top goalkeeper. Because obviously he didn't go to Juve. Then he ended up signing Guillermo Vicario from Spurs. So it kind of it wasn't ideal for Villa as they were bringing in Suzuki. So yeah, that's one to keep an eye on over the next few days as well.
Can't believe that no big clubs will not come in for Emi Martinez. Surely they will. Right, next up, we're going to talk Spurs, though, who've been very busy this summer, and they look like they're going to keep being busy before the end of the window. We'll discuss them next. Welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. We are going to talk Spurs now, and we spoke in the first part about how Spurs still do hold an interest in Cody Gakpo. So do Manchester City. And Savinho and Omar Marmoush, those are two names that have been bubbling around for quite a while now. Savinho seems very close. Is it going to be just Savinho, or is it going to be Savinho and Marmoush?
Well, I've heard nothing to suggest that it won't be Marmoush as well. There were reports that it's all done and dusted. That was not the case. There was even a picture of Marmoush apparently training in Manchester yesterday. There were also reports that he was in London yesterday.
Got someone who looks like him who's walking around London.
But look, I've not been told otherwise. I think both deals will happen. Savinho for sure. I thought it might have been announced by now. It might get announced today. We do have a press conference with Roberto De Zerbi today ahead of the game against Charlton tomorrow. So maybe we'll get clarity on that. But what we do know after the performance against Brentford on Saturday, it doesn't matter whether Spurs add defenders, midfielders, they don't improve that attack, they're not going to have a good season. But they clearly are going to improve that attack.
Yeah. Do you think Savinho and Marmoush take that Spurs attacking three or attacking options to another level?
I think they do. I think they improve Tottenham, without a doubt. I think some of the chances Savinho has had at Man City, even Marmoush, a little bit limited. So I can see why they would want to go to Tottenham and play more and be more of a focal part of that attack. Again, I think this leaves Spurs in a position where, again, with not having European football, there's too many options. I think there's so many options. And how do you fit everyone in? Like, I would imagine that some players will have to leave. Bridgie, I mean, you'll know a little bit more than I will, but, you know, where does a Dom Solanke fit in? You know, James Maddison's coming back in. Kulusevski will be back eventually. Kudos will be in. So, again, it's good to have attacking options. You can argue you can never have too many of them, but then I think it's the same.
Xabi Alonso's Chelsea. What have been your makings of it in pre-season, and what do you think we can expect in the Prem?
Well, he's saying that he's had a very good pre-season. He liked it. He's different. He's got a big point to prove. Done it in Germany. I thought actually that he done really well at Real Madrid. He was not far behind Barcelona, but not far behind Barcelona is not good enough in Spain. He knows England. Chelsea this year has got a lot to prove. It will help him that he is not in European cups, you know. So it's from Saturday to Saturday. What he has to do is make that squad smaller as quickly as possible and work with X amount of players. But I do like the signing. I do like the signing of Alonso. He likes playing with the three at the back. Will that work? I don't know, but that's up to him. But I do like that he wants to play high intensity, progressing kind of football.
There's been a lot of chat around Chelsea. There's so many people saying they are the team to challenge for the title. Do you make that of them, Glenn?
Listen, I think Arsenal will win it. But yeah, I think personally, Chelsea will be closest to them. I like their makeup. I like what they've got. What I really like is that they've brought experience in. Thiago Silva was the last experienced player to play for them, wasn't he? Yeah. And I feel as though there's been moments, we've seen glimpses from Chelsea, obviously winning the Conference League, Maresca's first 6 months in, I think it was a couple of years ago in the Premier League, they were almost top at Christmas. Yeah. And they just lacked that little bit of on-field guidance. Henderson and Welbeck will help with that.
OK. Well, Chelsea have shown they mean business as well in the transfer market by signing Morgan Rogers in a British record £117 million deal. So how will Xabi Alonso use Rogers to get the best out of Cole Palmer? We asked our resident Tactico Pythagoras in Boots to take a look.
Winter is coming on, and the two coldest operators in the Premier League need to form an alliance if Chelsea are going to take the Iron Throne. Now, the big question is, how do you utilise Morgan Rogers in a way which brings out the best in Cole Palmer? Well, our first glimpse of them together in senior football came under Thomas Tuchel for England against Japan. He made an absolute pig's ear of it. Rogers on the right, Palmer as the 10, and they kept drifting into that same right half space. Two bad men, same postcode. Now, what Xabi Alonso has done in pre-season makes far more sense. He's utilised his trademark 3-4-2-1 formation. Palmer, right inside forward, Rogers, left inside forward. Now, Palmer's problem as a number 10 was that teams eventually congested his zone. Now, initially, Nicholas Jackson brought out the best of him with his movement in behind. But when João Pedro came to the side, both of them were occupying similar spaces. Now, move Palmer wider and he gets more room to receive, isolate and attack. But the drawback is he's not really an out-and-out winger. So this role, this right inside forward role, gives him the best of both roles. He can drift inside and create like a 10, whilst the wing-back provides the width. Now, Rogers has a similar issue. He's also not really a traditional winger. He wants to come inside, attack space, and with that pace and power, he's devastating when the game opens up. So now, you've got both these players in opposite zones and, crucially, opposite game states. Now, the other question is, what if Chelsea go with a 4-3-3? Well, I think if Palmer and Rogers are used as twin eights, that leaves Caicedo too much ground to cover. So the only way you can utilise that is if one of them's a 10 and the other one is, say, a tucked-in wide forward. And again, the full-back selection there would be key. The other question is, what happens to Esteban? Well, if Palmer stays fit and Alonso commits to that 3-4-2-1 rather than the 4-3-3, his minutes will take a hit. But Esteban is one of those few players who could deputise for Cole Palmer in that right inside forward role. He's got the football IQ to drift inside and operate as a 10, whilst also having the quality of a wide player. So in summary, if Alonso gets the geometry right, Chelsea might just have the coldest attack in the league. Anyway, hope that helps, Roman. Back to you in the studio.
Fascinating. Big thanks to Pythagoras again, always. Jimmy, what did you make of that? I mean, he's saying, you know, he doesn't want to see that classic thing of Palmer going out on the right and then also Rogers on the left. Did one of them need to make way for the other?
No, I want to see them both on the pitch, you know, so I think you can. I think the best position for Rogers is a 10 or from the left. The best position for Cole Palmer is a 10 or from the right, you know. So, but I think there's so many more other things that comes with it. Can you get Esteban on the pitch? Can you get Pedro on the pitch? And I think you have to, you know. If you want to get those four on the pitch, you have to play a 4 at the back, or you have to play Esteban as a right wing back.
Yeah.
But what do you do with Neto? Is Neto going? You know, so it's a luxury, beautiful problem for Alonso to have. But I do think that both will play. Maybe both behind.
As a 2-8?
As a 2-10s.
Yeah.
Especially if they play with a 3. If they play with a 3, you're going to have 2 10s behind, or 2 10s.
That was his reasoning there,
Pedro.
just saying that Caicedo would have to do a little bit too much running.
Well,
there,
The perfect man to do that.
yeah, I know.
No, but
it's a lot of you know.
No, but you might have Caicedo with Reece James, then behind them.
Coming in.
Yeah. So, and then you have somebody else as a right wing back.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends who you're going to play, who you're playing. If you're playing Arsenal, you're not really going to play Esteban as a right wing back. You might have more a defensive player as a right wing back.
Well, one player that, I mean, it's not even getting a mention here, that they're saying, you know, he's been looked at by Man City, Enzo Fernandez. I mean, £120 million they're asking for him. You know, do you think, though, Glenn, would Chelsea fans be sad to see him go?
Yeah, I think they would. He's a likeable player if he's on your team, I think. He's
very
one of
true.
those. I mean,
If he's on your team.
And
that's what I like.
If he plays with passion, he gets forward. There's no question his ability. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I think he would suit Manchester City. Yeah. And I suppose the question is, do Chelsea need him in this new formation? Where
yeah, that's exactly it.
I think Chelsea do need him, but they can replace him, if that makes sense.
Replace him already in the squad or bring someone else in?
Replace him already in the squad with Reece James.
Yeah.
But I still think that they have to bring somebody else in, because Reece James doesn't play all the matches.
They've got Lavia, haven't they?
They've got, but he's also quite a lot injured.
Yeah.
Enzo, he turns up
Yeah.
at games.
He's a man.
He's a man.
Leader.
Important moments, he is there. You have to fight, he's there. You're under pressure, he's there. So that they will have to replace, you know, because if you miss that, that's a big item. I do think that he's going to end up at Man City because of what Man City is losing at the moment.
Yep.
Sevillo is going, other players are looking to go, and I think Enzo knows him, Enzo likes him, you know, he likes Enzo.
Yep. You can see it happening.
Yeah.
There you go.